Checkers 2 for $10 Big Buford or Mother Cruncher combos are here. With your choice of 2 Big Bufords made with 100% beef patties and melted American cheese. 2 classic Mother Cruncher chicken sandwiches made with crispy white meat chicken and our signature squawk sauce. Or 1 of each with 2 orders of our famous seasoned fries and 2 refreshing drinks for just $10. This deal is as big as your day is long because double shifts call for double the delicious. After all, you've earned it. 2 for $10 Big Buford or Mother Cruncher combos only at Checkers.
You know what's nice? You could drive to Whataburger right now if you wanted to. Yeah, you could hang a Louie, talk to Reggie at the counter, and get a freshly made 100% beef double meat Whataburger with melted cheese and fresh cut veggies on a 5-inch bun. It's just the delicious freedom you have living in the land where there's Whataburger. Of course, some people aren't in that land. I wonder what they're doing right now. Probably thinking about a road trip. Good thing it's so close you can taste it. Good thing there's Whataburger.
Work has been done looking at the role of blood in the paranormal.
Because you have an aircraft carrier or plural aircraft carriers who are swarmed with these, what they're now calling UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomenon. They changed the wording from object, unidentified flying object. So we've gotten to that 2.0 phase of renaming, and it really comes down to a military that we put nearly $1 trillion a year into their budget, so things don't swarm aircraft carriers. I don't know how anal the government is. If you try to fly near an aircraft carrier, you're going to get shot down. Nothing good is going to come from it. There are battle groups that also assist these aircraft carriers. They're never on their own. They've got destroyers. They got subs that run with them. You don't just show up and twirl around. And it's kind of like that, Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I hate referencing movies when it comes to the paranormal anything because they're made up, right? Maybe if they're based on reality, it doesn't matter. They're made for entertainment. They're not reality. And, you hear a lot of people who will like reference movies as it's actual real or technology or, they research this or whatever. It's fantasy for the most part. You might have snippets of or cherry picked real, but not usually, right? This is real, where you have an aircraft carrier who is swarmed by objects, cone-shaped, cylinder, some were round, some were very small, some were very large. This is an aircraft carrier, and they just basically could sit there and watch. They couldn't do anything. When they tried to chase these things down, they ran like you're on foot and someone's got a Ferrari and this is me. They're gone. But these things went into the water, splashed down, with no splash, by the way, no heat signature, unbelievable neck-breaking speeds that humans wouldn't even be able to live through from the G-forces. You don't go from 80,000 feet down to sea level in seconds and all of a sudden live, I'm sorry, we're not to the stage where we have that kind of technology. And if we were, we certainly wouldn't be announcing it to the world in that way. So this is wide open security risk. These beings, whatever they are doing their business. And it seems like their business is either taunting us or trying to figure us out as we're trying to figure them out. There's something called the cosmic equation where it's difficult for two groups that are so drastically different intellectually to communicate. So you have to come down to the most simple of means of communication. Basically, what humans learn when they start going to school. In my case, my mom started reading to me and getting me reading a couple years before I even went to kindergarten, playing chess, playing games of strategy and all that. Information was very big with her, and history is very big. And, I got a large chunk of that. So when you're learning how to communicate and speak and all your letters and assembling words, and that's what really has to happen from the brass nuts. Sure, an advanced society should be able to monitor us and, understand the algorithms. But I think that what you do is way more important than what you say you're going to do. Actions speak louder than words, and you are what you do. So if I'm an advanced society and I'm looking at humans, and I kind of feel like, well, first of all, like Senator Marco Rubio, Republican from Texas, said, they could be a threat. He wants to know. He's on the Senate Intelligence Committee, right? Intelligence Committee. I love saying that because it's so goddamn funny. So this is the deal. If they wanted to wipe us out, they could wipe us out. I think that if you have a aircraft carrier with the best of the best pilots, the best planes, the best stuff on the globe, by the way, nobody has better than us. That's the truth of it. When, other countries might want to, say, no, we make this better, whatever. I'm sorry, man. The American military, we have the best because we've always been at war with somebody at some point. We were seasoned soldiers, seasoned pilots, and also the equipment from trial and error. You ever see what an Apache helicopter can do? People talk about the planes and all this and F-14. That's great, man. You ever see what a group of Apache helicopters could do to a whole town? We've got the stuff. And if we can't stop something from happening, nobody can. Now, that's something that you have to look at. In a search for evidence, you don't necessarily need the meat and potatoes part of the evidence. You can certainly look around the outskirts, look at the salad, check it out, man. You see how things affect other things. That's important to know what you're working with, right? As humans, we don't know a lot. We've had very select people throughout time that were able to rise to the top. And, Nikola Tesla is one of those people. Einstein is another one of those people, Throughout time, you've had these visionaries, these inventors. All of them had dreams that they were visited, or they had some kind of thing happen where they had gotten this knowledge and they worked for these goals, right? So you might want to say they're shepherds and shepherding people along their way. But if they're going to look at people, humans are liars, deceptive, evil at times. And not everybody, man, but yeah, a lot. That's the problem. You could be the best person in the world, but it's the bad ones who rise to the top, who get up to those high levels of office because they're willing to do anything to get there. You've got your morals and you will sacrifice what you believe in. Those people have no morals. Their whole thing is getting there, and they'll do anything to get there. So the people who are there are those people. There's nobody amongst them that are not like that. Do you understand? It's kind of like how the oil rises to the top of the water, like the grease. And that's the world we're in. Do you think any advanced civilization would, number one, trust humans ever, knowing that this primitiveness exists? And number two, what are they going to get out of talking to us? Maybe I'll make them laugh if they got a sense of humor, but what are they? And I kind of see that about other people. Like, what am I going to get out of the relationship? Your time is valuable because you only have so much of it. It's not like you have an overabundance. So you should spend your time worthy around people who you like, doing things that you like to do, right? A lot of people get stuck in certain situations where they end up spending an extraordinary amount of time on stuff that doesn't make them happy, so there's also that. But quality of life and having a purpose. What's the alien's purpose? To fly around and taunt us? Wouldn't it be funny if they're just like a bunch of idiots and they just had amazing technology, and the technology, they were just kind of like, duh, and they're like Dumb and Dumber up there, and they're kind of just swarming around. They really have no purpose, just kind of, beam around and mess around, Not saying I'm trying to provoke any aliens out there. You don't want to abduct me, man. That wouldn't even fit in your ship. I don't even think one of my shoes would. I got to wear size 15s, man. I was 6'5". You better call the mothership to get Angley off this planet, man. So it really comes down to, if they're just the shepherds. If you listen to the Hopi Indians, what was it, 37,000 years ago? It was an extraordinary amount of time. A lot of people don't know when things happened, and when they look back through history, there's a lot of fudgery going on because, let's face it, it wasn't exactly a lot of ways to count the days and the ways. So the Hopi Indians, when they were using chicken bones as tools, said the ant people came from under the ground and out of a lake, a big-ass lake out there where they see UFOs flying in and out all day long. And they came out and showed them, how to survive better, how to do different things, and how to build and use, because humans are easily trainable, right? You can train people to do things. Whether they're going to do them right or not is subject to opinion, but some people have more of an ethic than other people when it comes to doing things. So-called experts, right? If there's any such thing. So it really comes down to level of experience. And if you think the Pentagon is going to tell you anything that is going to jeopardize national security in any way, shape, or form, and they won't even tell people how much toilet paper they use per month at the Pentagon, is exactly right, because they think it's a matter of national security. If some Russian knew how many times those people wiped their asses in the Pentagon, that's the way they think. So if that's the way they think, they're not going to tell you anything. You know what they're going to say in the report? Whoa, we don't know. There's something there. It's not us, and it's not the Chinese or the Russians or anybody else. Maybe it's Israel. Did you ever think of that, man? Maybe it's Israel. You see Mel Brooks, Jews in Space. You think that he made that up, or you think that's real? I don't know who the hell it is or what it is. I know that it is. I can give you that much. That it is. All right, so I'm going to read you this. This is experts. The experts weigh in on the Pentagon UFO report that hasn't come out yet, which goes to show you what kind of experts they are, because it hasn't come out yet. It's just, if it hasn't come out, Blitz and Blobs came out, but nothing really forthcoming, right? All right. The vast majority of examined incidents were not caused by U.S. advanced technology programs. So what's going on? All right. For more than a decade, the U.S. Department of Defense has been quietly cataloging and investigating scores of bizarre encounters. I love it when they say for more than a decade, right? So automatically, it's bull crap. A decade? You know damn well that these things have been tracked for decades, plural. You're going back, way back. As a matter of fact, there are people in ancient history that have put it in artwork or made some kind of sound that this thing was hovering over their village and whatever. But governments have been studying this for decades. So not more than a decade. And this is bullcrap, right? But now they're saying, all right, this bizarre encounters, mostly from the U.S. Navy of ships and fighter jets, what they're tangling with or being tailgated by unidentified flying objects, UFOs. So what is a UFO? It's something that's there that they don't know what it is. It's unidentified. Could be anything, but it's a UFO, right? Beginning in 2017, videos and eyewitness accounts of these weird sightings. I like how they say weird, not like normal, like a seagull, but weird sightings. It's weird, the government never uses the word weird. This is the article, Scientific American. It's weird. I'm sorry, I'm stuck on that word. My brain just can't dislodge it, man. You just stick it in the middle of a sentence like that. Anyway, sightings found their way into public view, ultimately spurring Congress to demand that the Pentagon produce a report summarizing all of the U.S. government knows about so-called unidentified aerial phenomenon, or UAPs, an alternative term to considerably less stigma than the much maligned UFOs. See? And for many years, you got to think, like, people have been poisoned by science fiction, and you see these things, aliens and Sigourney Weaver coming back every few years to fight more aliens, and the aliens eggs, and the blood is acid, and and just a place you don't want to be. It's something that you don't want to meet up with. Oh, the Terminator, he comes from, at least he was a whatever robot from the future, right? Android. But what about the Predator, man? Like, hunting people. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. It's kind of like shooting fish in a barrel. There ain't much going on there. You know what I mean? To tangle with. But we've been poisoned, other than the fact that Captain Kirk, who went out there basically to have sexual relations with every female type of thing that's out there in the universe, which is very interesting and weird. It was the 60s, by the way. Now the Me Too movement wouldn't have Captain Kirk out there boinking. You have a more responsible, like that Picard, who didn't have much sex at all. Or, the Vulcans, man, they do it like every 7 years, but then it's really kinky. It's kind of like me. Sounds like my schedule. Damn it. So it really comes down to, what are they going to get out of it? The aliens, whatever they are. And what are we going to get out of knowing anything about it? And one, do you think it's going to unite the world? Or two, do you think it's going to divide the world? Or let's say you had a group, because obviously I don't think all these aliens are exactly the same. And you could say that there's different groups of advanced life, right? There have been told battles in the past, alien battles over cities like Nuremberg and all places like that. That's very interesting stuff. So maybe they're not getting along. And then you had Ronald Reagan, when the reporters kept pressing him, and he's like, what do you want me to do? Tell you, like, yeah, there's aliens, and yeah, they're a threat. People are like, oh, Jesus, what? Can you say that again, Mr. Reagan? I don't recall. I'm out of here. And it's just kind of, what are they going to say? And you think presidents even know anything? Honestly, it's a temporary job. It's a need-to-know situation. With these long-term agencies, really don't have a need to tell any president anything unless there's some kind of threat or something going on, right? Okay. Think they're a threat. I think humans are a threat. People I don't want to hang out with, right? So, all right, let me get back to this because I'm getting way off base. Produced under the auspices of a Pentagon group called the UAP Task Force. So they renamed the UFO. Now it's UAP. Now they have a UAP Task Force. How many millions of dollars do you think that costs, just going from the UFO on the name tags to the UAP, right? Task Force. An unclassified version of the report is expected to be released later this month. Do you think that, imagine if there was different groups, alien groups out there, and they started playing different governments against each other. You can see where things can go terribly wrong, which I don't think would happen. I like to think that a higher level of life would be kinder, gentler, but then I think how we treat the chickens, and that blows that completely out of the water. So upon establishing the task force, the DoD, Department of Defense, released an accompanying statement explaining the justifications for its existence. The safety of our personnel and security of our operations are of paramount concern. The Department of Defense and the military departments take any incursions by unauthorized aircraft into our training ranges or designated airspace very seriously and examine each report very carefully. Okay. So he said nothing. He basically said, yeah, of course, there's a ship flying around. We're going to take care of it. But these things are different. Yeah. We spend a lot of money to monitor the seas, to monitor the airspace all over. We, United States of America, have air bases all around the world where we are in striking distance, 3-minute strike time to any country, to the heart of any country. That's what makes the U.S. such a powerful country. Right then and there is that's what we can do. So every time someone tells you the Chinese are doing this and Russia's doing that, you know what? It's nothing compared to the pure power. And we have that much power, and then we don't know what these things are, right? Other than they're there. So, all right. Assessing the alien hypothesis. Meanwhile, all this strangeness again with this guy, weird, strange. Do you see how Scientific American kind of looks at the paranormal, when the words that they're used? Is it strangeness? It's a phenomenon, I mean, strange is to suggest it's acting strange, doing something strange or strange. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like strange, weird. You're kind of like putting it in a certain zone. And that's the media's problem is when UFO stuff comes up, they make a face like somebody just farted next to them, and like, ooh, like, or someone said the word vagina in class in the 4th grade. Yeah. like they don't take it seriously, or they kind of dismiss it off to the side. And me, myself, have kind of done away with the word paranormal, even though I use it, because paranormal basically means things that you can't use scientific equipment to record the value of, which we've proved that wrong in our paranormal investigations. People have proved that wrong. The Navy's proved it wrong, right? So anyway, meanwhile, this strangeness has garnered considerable media attention, from the front page stories in the New York Times to 13,000-word articles in the New Yorker. Wow, 13,000 words. As well as prominent coverage on 60 Minutes and other primetime TV, which, means nothing. By the way, a lot of these 13,000-word articles for the New York Times are written by the AI programs. Even the ones you see on the internet, like AI programs. It's just kind of interesting to make a note of that. So through it all, a sizable contingent of true believers have steadily proclaimed, "We told you so." That would be Joe Montaldo and other people like him who have been, doing UFO research for decades, not for the last 10 years. But for decades have been trying to get out of Area 51 for decades, and being harassed. So that wasn't just yesterday where this stuff started happening, right? 60 Minutes, it's a shit show. 60 Minutes, really? What? Well, do they actually have any validity or anything on CNN or Fox? Any of these people, really, they're parasites, man. It's not about news. It's not about information. It's about agenda, right? So anyway, here we go. We told you so. They're insistent on their conviction that whether called UFO or UAP, the entities seemingly slipping through our skies are actually alien spacecraft and have been visiting Earth for a very long time. And me personally, I kind of felt like we were on the verge of a major announcement for quite some time now, which I've been mentioning here and there, only because the occurrences are being recorded better. You got people out there with real telescopes saying, look at these large objects 100 miles long, 150 miles long, about flying past the moon. And then, you still have people hoaxing. You still have people pulling that kind of crap. But there's a lot of real footage out there that is unexplainable. So, it comes down to that. All right. Now, those deeply entrenched in their public beliefs, paired with the apparent reinvigoration of the investigative interest, they're like, woo! To the UFO people, this is a big deal. Sort of. Because I already knew that, like that's more like what they're doing, but it's more of a validation. Finally, a validation, a slight validation from governmental sources, right? So anyway, if that means anything to you, all right. So It does to me, actually. I actually like watching fighter jets chase these things down and listening to the reaction of the pilots, these Top Gun pilots. It's pretty amazing. But anyway, might we be on the verge of a formal disclosure backed by irrefutable evidence that humankind is not alone and is indeed being monitored by extraterrestrial civilizations? Or could it be that the UAPs are entirely homegrown products of revolutionary and clandestine technological advances, whether by other countries or now challenging American airspace or by the U.S. itself as part of some super secret domestic program meant to detect flaws in the nation's defenses? First of all, the military doesn't like to admit anything. Nothing. Right? Nothing. You actually think if the security was being breached, they'd be broadcasting it everywhere to every country, And the fact that we've never even fired a missile at one of these things, and we do have lasers, by the way. We're not exactly sitting there, with muskets, shooting muskets at people. We have advanced weaponry, which actually came from somewhere, right? But we definitely have things that can pinpoint and blow. Why do you think that we're not investing so much in planes anymore with pilots? And then you look at these drones that we have, which are super fast and swarms. A little swarm of drones, which is a fraction of a cost of one of those airplanes, can go after a plane and take it out completely. Or a missile or any of that stuff. So no one's fired upon them, right? And they're treating them as friendly. So although the task force's unclassified assessment is not expected until June 25th, even though they keep saying it could be any time, like anytime they decide, so they got to put it in very simple layman's terms for Congress, for the people there to understand, because they don't have a head for anything. So except money, you got to put it in money terms, It's like dollars and cents of what that alien ship costs and what we cost. And how much they can stuff in their own bank account, right? All right, June 25th, the New York Times provided a cursory preview of its contents in an article on June 3rd, citing anonymous senior officials familiar with the report's contents. Isn't that great that you have senior officials that are happy to give stuff to the New York Times? Talk about a breach of security, And I know they do it on purpose, and I know what they do all the time. And there's no leaks that happen by accident or whatever, and it's all pre-planned, and they know exactly what they're doing. But just interesting that they play the game, and that's what they're doing. It's a game. That's why I don't take any of this seriously, because it's all BS. So, and then the story said that the assessment has come up short of explaining what UAPs are, and that it provides no evidence to link them with any punitive alien visitation. Despite reviewing more than 120 incidents from the past 20 years, the report's firmest conclusion, it seems that the vast majority of UAP happenings and their surprising maneuvers are not caused by any U.S. advanced technology. So it ain't us. Lastly, according to the New York Times article, the final report includes a classified annex of information deemed unsuitable for public release, classified material, matter of national security type of stuff, leaving more than enough room for diehard UFO advocates to remain convinced that the U.S. government is hiding the truth. It's like a hotel I stayed at recently, right? And I went to the bathroom, I closed the bathroom door, and there was a bed bug on the floor, dead bed bug. Took a picture of it, flipped it over, took another picture of it, picked up some toilet paper, took another picture of it, and then next day I saw the house cleaning staff out in the hallway. I'm like, so you got bed bugs here? And they look at you dumbfounded, like they don't even understand what language you're speaking. Like, bed bugs? We don't have any bed bugs here. And I'm like, well, you do, because I got a picture of one, and I'm sure that, for the one time I'm staying in this hotel, that I'm just not the one lucky enough to have found a bed bug in the bathroom that doesn't exist. You know what I mean? And then the woman was just overloaded with information in her brain, started smoking, and she fell on the ground and passed out. So then I went to the front desk. I was checking out. So you got bed bugs here. And this woman was a really raspy voice, like Walmart cashier in the middle of like Alabama. Hey, honey, we don't have bed bugs here. Oh boy. Okay, well I got a picture of one and it was there. And how do you think it got there? I don't know. We don't have bed bugs here. Never even seen one. We have an exterminator that comes in and kills them. Well, if you have an exterminator that comes in to kill bed bugs, then you must have bed bugs to kill. It's not just preventive. They're coming there to kill. So then I talked to another person, and he was like, "Oh, that place is known for bed bugs. Don't go there." Well, thanks for telling me beforehand when I said, "How's this hotel?" That wasn't exactly cheap either. But that's the way I feel with the government when it comes to UFO. They just look at you dumbfounded. Like you're the dumbest bastard that ever walked the dumbest planet in the dumbest universe. And just said the dumbest thing about UFOs. But I know what I saw. I got a picture of it. We don't have them. So when Barack Obama was on the Ellen show, this little kid gets up and asks him a question. Have you ever communicated with aliens? So Obama, has this little smug type of, right? Looking at the kid, thinking, I'm going to get the men in black on his ass after the show. The kid's going to disappear. He's not going to have any memory. Bah. So Obama answers, I can honestly, instead of saying no, right, just no. He has this long, convoluted answer. Well, he actually said the kid's name, his name. Well, Beaver, I can honestly say that we have never had any direct communication with any alien species. And then you would listen to that answer like, that's a lawyer answer. I know he's a lawyer. That's a lawyer answer, man. There's truth in that answer. And number one, he didn't say, there are no aliens. We don't talk to anyone. Bye. They don't say that. He said, we have never had any direct communication with any aliens. Well, I guess there's aliens. If you're going to word it like that, and you so carefully word it like a lawyer, the kind of thing where you kind of have to tell the truth, but you can't tell the truth because, Andrew Cuomo, I only lied to protect the truth. I love that. I sent him a thank you note over that one. I put that in my little thing of stuff to say if you're ever in trouble for lying. I only lied to protect the truth. Well, what is the truth? I can't say. I'm sorry. I'm not at liberty to say. And I lied about that too. So, fine. You're going to look at people, say there's no bed bugs. You're going to look at people, say there's no aliens. But we've seen them. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. You have astronauts that see them all the time. You have astronauts. You have Russian astronauts, American and Chinese. These things are just flying right by the space station. Oh, like they don't even care who sees them. And obviously they're playing games with these ships. Go back and forth and letting them chase them down and just doing the whole cat and mouse thing, right? So anyway, Andrew Facknoy, an astronomer at the Fromm Institute. I'm sorry, I got stuck on the Fracknoy. That screwed me up for astronomer. I fumbled. At the Fromm Institute for Lifelong Learning at the University of San Francisco, where people poop on the streets. Doesn't say that in the article, but I had to add that in there for posterity. Echoes the widely held sentiment among scientists that for decades, the media has lavished too much attention on the sensational claims that the vague lights in the sky are actually extraterrestrial spacecraft. Recently, there has been a flurry of misleading publicity about UFOs based on military reports. A sober examination of these claims reveals that there is a lot less to them that first meets the eye. So this guy doesn't believe. And he's going to go to great lengths and tell you why. And I'm going to listen. And you're going to listen because I'm going to read it. Given sufficient evidence. Oh, okay. Fracknoy says, given sufficient evidence, which arguably many of the recent reports fail to provide, UFO sightings can essentially always be tied to terrestrial or celestial phenomena, such as lights from human-made vehicles like a Ford or a Chrysler and re-entering space junk, he adds, right? So he's saying that the military, the multi-hundreds of billion-dollar military, trillion-dollar military, has mistaken space junk or a Ford for aliens and have done nothing about it, man. I think Putin's paying attention, man. You better be careful. All right. There is nothing going on in any big reveal, says Robert Schieffer, a leading skeptical investigator of UFOs. There are no aliens here on Earth, and so the government cannot disclose what it does not have. Some people think that the government knows more about UFOs and UAPs than the public, but it's clear that they know less on the subject than our best civilian UFO investigators, not more. That's somebody living in denial. If you think for a second that this anal retentive government has been tracking these things for years and years and years, and go back to Project Stargate and things like that, you mean to tell me that that's really what you think and you won't say that out loud? Wow. Talk about ignorance, And I don't like, there's two types of people I really don't jive with. The ones who believe something so much they're not willing to listen to any evidence that would disprove what they believe in. Then on the other side, the ones who don't believe in it so much that no matter what the evidence to prove something, they still won't believe it. You have that on both sides of the aisle, unfortunately. So the DOD employs some very competent photographic analysts and other technical experts, none of whom obviously were consulted in this comedy of errors, Schaefer said. The Pentagon has already suffered enough embarrassment from the apparent incompetence of its UAP task force. He says it's time to rein in such rampant foolishness and ensure that proper experts will shape the task force's conclusion rather than clueless, self-important people who don't even recognize out-of-focus images when they see them. Man, does this guy have a stick up his ass. Whoa. Yeah, I'm sure those 4-star generals sitting around, they're not sitting there in their mother's basement sending out texts on how much they hate the government. Really? Was that an out of focus, out of shape image that they were chasing down, with aircraft that couldn't even keep up with these things? I mean, come on, man. With no heat trail? Obviously, this guy is not. See, and they put him in the article because he's the skeptic, but he's not a real skeptic is going to say, okay, it's not plausible. I don't think it's plausible, but show me the evidence, and you have a debate of evidence. This guy's just like, no. It's dumb. It's stupid. Brutal. All right. Skeptical science writer Mick West has taken on the chore of analyzing the spate of UAP videos released by the U.S. military, steadfastly investigating how some of the incidents could merely be mirages from flaws in newly deployed radar systems, as well as various sorts of well-understood visual artifacts regularly seen in cameras. Despite his work to debunk the recent claims, West maintains the reports the mysterious aircraft stalking military assets should be taken quite seriously. So even this guy, who is a science fiction writer, which means nothing, it means nothing, let's face it. I don't even get into the whole fiction thing. It means nothing. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's entertainment. I won't say it's stupid. It's entertainment, right? And I don't know him personally, so I don't know what kind of work he does. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But to say that these are things that people have seen with their eyes. Military personnel on the deck of a ship, looking up in the sky, seen with their eyes. As they were flying around, sometimes just a few feet away from the aircraft. And that's just something that you can't say it's an out of focus camera. You can't say it's sunspots in the camera. You can't say that it's any of that. Only thing you can say is that it's a phenomenon that happened and you don't know what it is and what they are. So, okay. Firstly, there's a set of very real issues that could be grouped together as UAPs, UFOs. West says anytime something identified shows up in restricted airspace, then that's a real problem that needs solving, obviously. There have been many reports of drones above the near restricted areas. He notes, we know that drones have been used for terrorist attacks, and drones will very much be a significant factor in future conflicts. So this guy's talking about nothing. He's already on to human type of technology. He as a science fiction writer, a science writer even, he's fixated on a technology that's stagnant compared to any kind of advanced life and what these things really are. And he didn't have the experience himself, so he can't really say what those things are because he wasn't there. Even the people who are there can't say what they are because they don't know. And that's the whole thing. Only thing you can say, see, if you ask me something and I don't know, I'm going to say I don't know. I'm not going to give you an answer. I'm not going to give you, so maybe it's this, maybe it's that. I hate the word maybe. I hate the word may. I hate the word could. They're just useless. Just tell me this is what the deal is. Don't tell me that may, could, or woulda, shoulda, if it would. I don't know. Right? But obviously, they're all in our airspace, right? And it's not drones. It's not drones that are little fans flying up in the air. It's not drones that are little airplanes flying around. We shoot that out of the sky like they're nothing. If you think that the Nimitz is going to let a squadron of foreign drones fly above it, you have no clue what you're talking about. None, zero, none, right? Anyway, the advocates of alien disclosure are encroaching on these real issues of UAPs. These believers take mundane videos of incidents, the same guy that are simply unidentified, he says, then reframe them as evidence of extraordinary technology, which of course means aliens. Aliens. Well, maybe they're not aliens. Maybe they're from here. Maybe we're the aliens. You ever think of that? We're just some monkeys there trying to hybrid type of thing, right? So, all right. Here we go. One person who is taking the wait and see attitude for the up and coming report is Ravi Kumar Kaparapu. Oh, I got that out, man. A research scientist. I believe in saying people's names the right way. A research scientist in planetary studies at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center. The history of scientific studies of UAPs in the U.S. is not limited to the recently released video snippets, which is a good reminder to avoid painting the whole phenomenon with one brush, he says. Additionally, there is not a U.S.-specific issue, nor is it limited to observations by the U.S. Armed Forces. So it is a worldwide phenomenon, right? There may not be a single explanation for all of the observations. What I would suggest is that we don't leap to any conclusions when finding the report it was made public. The report, see, this guy is smart because his name's on the line. And he's like, I'm going to wait and see. It could be. There's lots of phenomena, lots of report. He's not like the other dude, the science fiction writer, a crybaby, all angry. All right. The report would be immensely helpful if the data that informed it are made publicly available so that the experts, so-called experts and scientists, can look at it and hopefully reach scientific consensus over the nature of some of the unexplained events. All right, that's great. So, in closing, what good is it going to do? right? What good is it going to do for them? Number one, and for us, number two. I don't understand why these people. It's great that you want to figure it out. It's great that you want to know more. It's great that, or maybe it's not great. I mean, what happens if, you pull out the plug in the bathwater, man, and then you start communicating and they say, hey, by the way, there's no God. The things that you worship are just ridiculous stories. And you're just a bunch of monkeys that we kind of are making up into something that we need. whatever the answer is. Whatever the answer is, it has nothing to do with the history of this world, the made up history. There's certainly a lot of it, and I know there's some truth in there. I think that there's people in the Bible, for instance, that weren't even from this planet, man. It makes sense. You can almost see the transition from one place to another if you read into it. But whatever. What difference does it make? Is it going to make you a better person tomorrow? Is it going to make you lesser of a person tomorrow? Or do you know that you have to survive today? And every day is survival, right? I mean, isn't that what it's all about? And being there for the family of people around you, the ones you love, isn't that what it's all about? Supporting your community. I mean, all this other stuff is just what it is. It's great. It's light in the sky. That's fun. Like fireworks, man. Boom, boom, boom. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh, ah. Ooh, ah. But whatever you are is what you are. And what you do is what you are. So for all these people to say it's this, it's that, it's the other thing, weather balloons, or, it's just distorted images. And, you have people that have no credibility whatsoever, who are just like literally the ones who live in their parents' basements judging the entire U.S. military, saying that the evidence that they have is nothing. It's crazy to me, because it's crazy to me that even Scientific American would print that and I would read it. I read it because I thought it was like, look, this is crazy. Do they really have nothing to talk about? That they're going to track down these people who are nobodies and have them rant on what it is, what it isn't, and all the extremes. You're not accomplishing anything. So really, it's about, we don't know what to say because the report hasn't come out yet. But I think that we can assume it's not going to jeopardize any national security. Therefore, a lot of it will be redacted. Congress will only have bits and pieces of it. They won't even know what the hell they're reading or care about it. If you think that Nancy Pelosi or any of these people care about any of that, I think she is an alien. There, I said it. Right? And Chuck Schumer, too. I know he's not human. So whatever. It all comes down to you and your place in the universe, right? And all the UFO people making their jokes about anal intrusion. Ugh. Is really what we got to look forward to if it comes to that, man? It's funny to say, but those are real accounts. These aren't warm, fuzzy accounts being abducted. So, and there's a lot of people that want to know about all those people, A lot of them are telling the truth. A lot of them are lying too. Whatever, man. We'll see what the report says when it comes out. I know exactly what it's going to say, as a matter of fact. And there's going to be no surprises. So all I can say on this show and ending this show is keep looking up. Whatever happened to that dude? Remember the guy on like public broadcasting, and he would have these little 5-minute, he'd come out with like a members only jacket, like 1980 members only, and be like, tell you when the moon is going to shift and this is going to happen, meteor showers or whatever. Cool, man. And then he was like, at the end, keep looking up. So that's my message on to you, right? And look at the ground when you're walking too, because you don't want to step into a hole or something, on somebody else or.
Are your kids bored this summer? It's Spawn Tub Manufacturer's Instant Fun Sale going on now. Instant fun for the whole family. Cool off with a complete pool package, only $13.99 or just $45 a month. We can install by next week. Instant fun in your new spa for just $60 a month. Relax and unwind. Or tan at home in an instant with your own tanning bed. Great deals and instant fun. Instant fun going on now at Spawn Tub Manufacturers.
If you have loved ones that rely on your income, you need life insurance. But finding the best quote shouldn't take a lifetime. With Policy Genius, you could save 50% or more by comparing quotes from America's top insurers. First, head to policygenius.com. In minutes, Policy Genius will compare prices starting at as little as $1 a day. You might even be eligible to fast-track your coverage with a no-exam policy. Once you apply, the Policy Genius team handles all the paperwork and red tape. If you have any questions, their team of licensed independent experts is on hand to help. In fact, Policy Genius's award-winning service has a 5-star rating across thousands of reviews on Trustpilot and Google. Make today the day you cross life insurance off your list and get protection for your loved ones. You could save 50% or more by comparing quotes. To get covered, head to policygenius.com today.